Bassebo ne bannyabo tubaanirizaako ku mukutu gwaffe kuno ogwa BK TV Media. Mu kiseera kino tugenda kuwuliriza omukyala Mariam Wangadya engeri gy'atukaabiriramu ng'omwana omuto, era tetufuddeeyo kumanya lwaki aleese ebizibu bye olunaku lwa leero okutunnyonnyola lwaki atukaabirira. Naye nga mu kino twagadde okubaleetera omukutu guno olunaku lwa leero omukyala Wangadya ku maziga g'ayolesezza mu Parliament ng'akakiiko k'abannamateeka kamukunya ebibuuzo ku bizibu ki ebigenze mu maaso mu bbanga lye lyonna ly'azze afugira akakiiko kano ak'eddembe ly'obuntu, abantu gye balina okuddukira nga babeeko gye beekubira enduulu singa babeera bafunye ebizibu byonna. Mu kiseera kino omukyala Wangadya amanyikiddwa ennyo okuba nga mukyala teyeerya ntama bwe kituuka mu kutyoboola eddembe ly'obuntu ate nga y'akulira eddembe ly'obuntu. Yalabibwako olunaku olukedde lumu ng'atyoboola eddembe lya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu bwe yali agenzeeyo okwekubira enduulu bwe baali bamugaanye, gavumenti bwe yali emulemesezza okuyimba okumala ebbanga ddene. N'amulaga nti teyalina buyinza kumuddamu, teyalina buyinza kwennyonnyolako mu kakiiko ako. Era omukyala Wangadya ono tumujjukira bulungi. Bwe yali mu lukiiko olumu n'annyonnyola nti abasibe ba Nuupu be baali baleetanga aba Nuupu baali balimba bulimbi. Ekyamazima ddala okutwaliza awamu omukyala Wangadya ye nga ye takkiririza mu ddembe ly'abuntu ate nga yabadde akulira akakiiko k'eddembe ly'obuntu. Mu kiseera kino ng'era yakyakakulira okutuusa mukama we gye yawandiikira ebbaluwa bamuwummuze lwalimukkiriza nti genda owummule. Olw'okusinziira ku information gye twafuna okusembayo okuwulira okuva ewa Anthony General, ekyamazima yagaana okumukkiriza okuwummula, ndowooza okutuusa ng'ebibuuzo bino bimuyisoyezzasoyezza annyonnyole abadde atambuza atya akakiiko k'eddembe ly'obuntu. Ekyamazima akakiiko k'eddembe ly'obuntu ko kabadde katambula matankane, kabadde katambula katagala, ng'era bwe munaawulira bw'annyonnyola bambi tubadde nga abantu emisango mingi tegitambula nga tetumanyi lwaki tegitambula. Kumbe abantu be twasindika abantu gavumenti bwe yatusindika okuyamba abantu ku misango egyo, nabo bennyini bali eyo bantu bakulu nga beerumaaluma bwerumiirumi nga bwana bwa njala. Ekiseera kino tugenda kuwuliriza emboozi ye omukyala Wangadya ng'annyonnyola engeri ki gy'adibazeemu akakiiko kano, era oluvannyuma amaliriza nga yeetondedde mwami Museveni yamuwa obukulembeze, ne yeetondera Parliament, ne yeetondera bannayuganda bonna okutwaliza awamu. Era namuli bwe kityo abannayuganda mmwe munaasalawo oba munaamusonyiwa oba temumusonyiwe. Naye nga ye essaawa zino akaabira bannayuganda babeeko kye bamukolera, oba bamusonyiwa oba temumusonyiwa kinaava eri mmwe. Kale n'olwekyo tusimbule embalaasi, tugenda kuwuliriza omukyala Wangadya. Tuula, kalira, alina kacaayi kaleeta okanywe, alina ku tuzzi tuteeke kumpi, alina emberenge n'ebinyeebwa naawe tobiteeka wala. Tugenda bba tuwuliriza omukyala Wangadya. Wangadya tabadde mukyala mwangu nnyo ebbanga lyonna ly'afugidde akakiiko kano, kubanga bingi byattottola, byannyonnyola nga banne bwe bamuliisizza akakanja, essaawa eno ayagala naffe tumukwatirwe ekisa, ye yadde abadde takikwatirwa banne. Era mu kiseera kino tubaaniriza ku mukutu gwaffe, tugende mu maaso n'okuwuliriza. Bambi bw'oba abadde oli eyo nga tusubscribinganga ku mukutu gwaffe guno eno, tukwegayiridde genda mu maaso n'okunyigamu ka subscription ako Turning akadde aka notification turning okajja mu personalize okateke mu all. Liking a video yaffe eno, gisharinge, etuuke ku buli muntu yenna oyo abadde ayandigyetaaze okugiwuliriza. Mbasaba muwulirize akatambi kaffe kano. Mwammwe bwe munaabaako kye mwagala okukomentinga kyonna muyinza okukomentinga. Muwulire Wangadya bw'atunnyonnyola era bw'atunnyonnyola ebizibu bye, abantu naffe tumukwatireko ekisa. Nammwe mulina okuba nti alabirira omwana ow'emyaka 3 oba omusajja omukulu ow'emyaka 3 alina ne famire ye, bw'akyaweerera fees ng'omwana omuto. Kale n'olwekyo tubaaniriza, mbaagaliza okuwuliriza okulungi, mubeere bulungi mu kaseera kano.
You can have a procedure.
Chairman, we have some procedural issues.
Let the chairperson finish making her submission before we chip in.
She must be in unimaginable agony. On behalf of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, as currently constituted, I apologize to His Excellency the President, to this Parliament, and to all the people of Uganda and all stakeholders. We have let you down. Mr. Chairman, allow me now to respond to just a few of the accusations leveled against me. But there are so many. I will just restrict myself to a few. Apology to this committee, to His Excellency, the President of Uganda, who appointed me to the position of Chairperson, Uganda Human Rights Commission, and to all the people of Uganda for the language I used when I spoke to the media in reaction to the vicious, relentless mental horror I have been subjected to since February this year. I used words which were impolite, insensitive, hurtful, and beneath my character. I shocked the President and all the people. Thank you, Chairman and members. I was in the middle of apologizing to the country for the language I used, which I said is beneath my character. I'm sorry to all those I offended, but please know I had been pushed to the edge. The people who know me know that that is not my character. I recognize my Member of Parliament for Nakawa East, Senior Council. Congratulations, my MP. Honorable members, the institution I head has the widest mandate under the Constitution. Article 52 refers. This Article 52 lists not fewer than 9 responsibilities or tasks of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. In addition to these, there are others which may arise under the state of emergency. Today, honorable members, I should be attending to these functions. I should be supervising investigations. I should be reading files. I should be writing decisions or rulings. I should be constituting panels for tribunal sessions. Today, Mr. Chairman, I should be in the field hosting barazas, talking to refugees, interacting with stakeholders. I should be hosting press conferences talking about the major human rights issues of the day. I should be convening commission meetings. But, Chairman, I have spent the past 5 months fielding questions and defending myself before every media house in Uganda. I have spent the past 5 months telling them that I am not in hiding, that there is no investigation on me, that I am not a thief. I have spent the past 5 months telling journalists that I'm not in exile, that I'm not on the run, and that we Ugandans no longer go to exile, but instead receive and host millions of refugees. I have spent the last 5 months being terrorized by the media, receiving calls from friends and relatives who comfort me, and from haters who tell me to go to hell. I spend all my time worrying about posts on X, on TikTok, and other social media platforms. Mr. Chairman, I now have to defend myself before committees of Parliament. So far, I have received at least three invitations to appear before 3 different committees of Parliament. All the invitations arrived in 2 days. One of them required me to appear the next day. Mr. Chairman, none of those invitations is about the current human rights issues. They are all about responding to false and petty accusations. This is really sad. In addition to the Commission's mandate under Article 52 of the Constitution, Section 4 of the Uganda Human Rights Commission says, I quote, "The chairperson shall be the head of the Commission, be responsible for the direction of the affairs and for administration of the Commission, and monitor and supervise the work of the Secretary." I quote. I have been taken away from these roles. My full-time job now is to defend myself against baseless, malicious, and defamatory accusations. Meanwhile, the work of at least 3 members of the Commission, that is half of the Commission, is to conspire against the chairperson and one of their colleagues, to orchestrate a smear campaign against her, to place defamatory stuff in the media, to lodge baseless complaints against her at every investigative agency on the land, to report her to the President, to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, to the Attorney General, to Parliament, and do anything and everything to destroy her. Their constitutional mandate is irrelevant to them. The meetings they clamor for are not for work. They are intended to avail them a forum to humiliate, to harass, and taunt the chairperson. Where is value for money for the Ugandan taxpayer? Honorable members, you live in this country. You have watched and listened for yourselves to the psychological terror I, Commissioner Kaheru, and a staff member suffer every day. Yesterday, you hosted here members of the Commission. You listened to each one of them. You heard and witnessed the disrespect, contempt, hatred, and vitriol they harbor for me, their leader. You saw their demeanor. You heard their pettiness. I invite you just for a second to try to imagine what our meetings look like. Honorable Chairman and members, I was a member of the Uganda Human Rights Commission for 17 years. I actually was part of the Pioneer Commission. I worked under 2 different chairpersons, Mrs. Sekaja, the Pioneer chairperson, and the late Haji Medikagwa. I could never have imagined that a head of institution could be bullied, humiliated, harassed and taunted and disrespected, more so to that extent. I worked under Justice Irene Mulyagonja, then Inspector General of Government, for 8 years. I cannot fathom that we, her deputies, could ever have done to her anything near to what is being done to me. I have been a single mother to my son since he was 3 weeks old. Soon he will be 30 years old. He has a toddler son and a wife, and I'm their sole breadwinner. By the time a woman in my situation picks a pen, places it on paper, and writes a letter resigning her job of some commissioners from activities, this is not true. One of the activities which brings together the chairperson and members of the commission is the tribunal sessions. We have 2 panels which I constituted for all the 6 commissioners. All the 3 commissioners, Commissioners Stephen Basaliza, Simeon Subuga, and Jacqueline Atuhaire Rabukurukru, occasionally pick allowances for these activities, the tribunal sessions, and do not show up. We fail to realize quorum, which may lead to our decisions being challenged in a higher court. Previously, single commissioners used to preside over sessions until we got legal guidance from the learned Attorney General. On at least 2 occasions, Honorable Jacqueline Atuhaire cancelled sessions even after picking all allowances for her driver and bodyguard. I initiate draft decisions and rulings and send soft copies to every commissioner. These 3 commissioners have never contributed any comment on any draft decision or ruling, but at least they sign the final copies. So it's therefore not true that they are excluded from activities. A lot has been said about a generator. Chairman, I have a generator allocated to me by virtue of my office as a power backup. I am the one who chairs all tribunal sessions and initiates the drafting of all our decisions and rulings. It was found necessary to give me power backup. I need power and Wi-Fi to do research and write those decisions and rulings. On the issue you began with, Mr. Chairman, closure of files and dismissal of cases, I have had a sustained and choreographed mantra of she has closed files, she dismisses cases. Let me begin by saying that the mandate of the Commission is a broad one. Complaints handling and specifically tribunal decisions are a tiny component of our mandate. Hearing cases, Mr. Chairman, is not part of the functions of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. It is a role derived from the powers of the Constitution under Article 53, Clause 2B of the Constitution. If I can read part of it loud. In the performance of its functions, the Commission shall have the powers of a court. In particular, Clause 2, the Commission may, if satisfied that there has been an infringement of a human right of freedom, order payment of compensation. So, these tribunal sessions are not a function as such, but are a fulfillment of the power given to us under Article 53 of the Constitution. I submit that even if there were no tribunal sessions, the Commission would continue to work. In fact, for your information, Mr. Chairman, the Uganda Human Rights Commission and the National Human Rights Institution of Canada are the only 2 national human rights institutions in the world with the power to convene, to sit as a court. So this is merely in fulfillment of that power. Back to the closure of files. Mr. Chairman, contrary to what you've heard, the decision to close cases which do not meet the required evidential threshold or on any other criteria was taken by the Commission sitting as a tribunal. I don't know whether members, these commissioners just forgot that we decided this as a tribunal. I don't know. By the way, Mr. Chairman, even courts of judicature dismiss some cases. Dismissal of cases is not unique to the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Apart from cases which don't meet the evidential value, other criteria for dismissal of cases include, there are many, but I'll just mention a few in the interest of time. Limitation of time. Some cases are filed out of time. Section 24 of the Uganda Human Rights Commission Act, Mr. Chairman, says no complaint shall be brought before the Commission after the expiration of 5 years from the date on which the alleged violation of a human right to which the complaint relates occurred. So, where we upon perusal of files, if I discover that this matter was filed out of time, this is a resource-starved commission. Why should I take it to a full hearing? Why don't I simply minute on it? This matter was filed out of time. and I instruct the director to communicate closure. I don't see why that should be a crisis. The other criteria, Mr. Chairman, is non-disclosure of a cause of action. For example, where the case is that of negligence, but has been brought as a human rights violation. We've received cases to do with accidents on the roads where a driver. I leave those questions to the committee, Mr. Chairman. The other reason some cases are closed without going through a full hearing are those cases which clearly are intended to divert the course of justice. Mr. Chairman, there are people who file complaints at the Uganda Human Rights Commission for just one purpose: to minimize or escape culpability for their crimes. Once the evidence against them proves insurmountable, they bring to us cases of torture. Until the Constitutional Court recently pronounced itself on sections of the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act, accused persons almost always invoked torture as a defense. By the way, they continue to do that. I have seen several of them walk scot-free on this ground. The Uganda Human Rights Commission cannot continue to shield violent criminals from consequences of their crimes. I will not, Mr. Chairman, I will continue to resist turning the Commission into a center for sanitization of criminals. Forged medical reports. There are torture cases we receive which are backed up with clearly forged medical reports. Mr. Chairman, we have a duty to do justice to both parties, to the complainants, but also to the respondent, who is always the Attorney General. We have a duty to be impartial to each of them. We cannot continue to entertain cases which are based on forgeries. Otherwise, that would be institutional bias against the state. There are so many examples. There are so many reasons we sometimes close cases without going into a full hearing. There are some which are brought before the wrong forum, like employment matters. We have an industrial court. Some are land disputes. Mr. Chairman, we cannot hear all these cases. Remember too, honorable members, the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, under the Constitution, must be a judge of the High Court or a person qualified to be a judge of the High Court. The only qualification for members of the Commission is that they must be people of integrity and high moral standing. With due respect, Mr. Chairman. The presumption of the law is that this chairperson has an understanding of the criteria for admissibility of cases. How can this small issue be amplified into a crisis? Are we really serious? This chairperson is qualified to be a judge of the High Court. This chairperson is an advocate of the Supreme Court of Uganda for more than 30 years standing. How can she fail to determine parameters of admissibility of cases? How can the chairperson, in exercise of her authority under the law, sitting as a court or administratively, where she determines that these cases are not worth a hearing, how can that be a crisis, Mr. Chairman? On foreign travel,
excuse me, honorable members, I see two subheadings: foreign travel and motor vehicles. Should we really avail this time? Okay.
Let me start by declaring that I'm over 60 today, and flying, whether domestic flight or international travel, is scary for me. I fly out only when it is inevitable, when it is necessary that I have to. Each of the 3 commissioners and all the others travel abroad as and when the budget allows, and depending on the purpose for the travel. Sometimes I send staff members abroad. For example, I sent Commissioner Basaliza to Moscow for a conference. He flew business class and was paid full allowances. The previous year, I had attended a similar meeting in Moscow. I flew economy class and did not receive any allowance. I did not complain, and today I'm not complaining. Most of the invitations, Mr. Chairman, which come, they come to the chair as head of institution, but they target technical people, the staff. When I read those invitations, they describe the event to be attended and the caliber of people they wish to attend them. So it would be awkward for me, Mr. Chairman, to send commissioners to attend trainings intended for staff members. I would be the only head of institution to do that when all my colleagues selecting attendees for the same event have sent staff members. On motor vehicles, for example, Honorable Atuhaire Jacqueline Rabukurukuru has so far been allocated 3 vehicles, one of which was brand new. Each of these vehicles would be crushed within weeks. In fact, on the day she received the brand new car, Commissioner Shifra Lukwago received exactly the same type of car. And when you look at hers today, it looks brand new. Commissioner Simeon Subuga was allocated the strongest car in the pool. Mr. Chairman, they used these motor vehicles mainly for their campaigns for elective office. Commissioner Basaliza was allocated a brand new car. Talking about campaigns brings me to the issue of neutrality or impartiality, Mr. Chairman. The nature of our work demands neutrality, or at least perception of impartiality. 2 of these commissioners, Honorable Jacqueline Atuhaire Rabukurukuru and Honorable Simeon Subuga, have openly participated in partisan politics as candidates for parliament. Even in the most recent election, they participated as candidates. They even wear party colors and symbols for official meetings, causing immense embarrassment to the commission. One of them actually contested for the position of district chairperson, Women's League of a political party. At this point, Mr. Chairman, allow me to read Section 5 of the Uganda Human Rights Commission Act. Commissioners to relinquish particular offices. Let me confine myself to paragraph C. A member of the executive of a political party or political organization. Mr. Chairman, when you have a member of the commission vying to be elected a district chairperson of the Women's League of a political party, I don't know whether this is partisan politics or it is not, but we receive human rights issues from all shades of people. Some of them, people belong to different political parties. How can somebody that I have not convened commission meetings since March? We had the last one, if I recall well, on 9th March this year. First of all, it is not a requirement of any law that we must sit every month, every week, or whatever. However, again, I concede, I'm a coward. I fear. How do these commissioners behave during these meetings, Mr. Chairman? They have turned those meetings into hell for me. They caucus ahead of the meetings and turn each meeting into a lynch mob for me. Whenever I enter the boardroom for any meeting, I leave my secretaries, my personal assistant, my bodyguard, drivers interceding for me so that I don't break down. They yell at me, humiliate, insult, and swear at me They point fingers at me. Commission meetings are utter chaos. Each meeting I convene leaves me in tears. I have never known peace ever since I took oath as chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. During meetings, they record what some of us say, and we hear our voices being played on radios. And I think almost at least 12 of the meetings we last held, I always have no communication from the chair. Honorable Jacqueline Atuhaire Rabukurukuru openly declared her hatred for me from day one. She put it to me that it was her who authored a report to the president, leading to my former woman MP, Irene Moloni, to be fired from cabinet, and that I too would be fired from the position of chair of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. She started to intimidate me.
Honorable members, the point is about meetings. I want to restrain the chairperson from going personal.
Most obliged, Mr. Chairman.
Let's stick to the principal issues.
That is all I can say about meetings,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Let me say something. Foreign travel. Some of these meetings abroad are boycotted. I don't know how to say this without mentioning a name. But Mr. Chairman, let me say, I ever sent one of the 3 commissioners to attend a meeting in Geneva. She declined to travel to Geneva. She called me on the phone to say I will not travel to Geneva. And she gave me a very long story. Mr. Chairman, I sent one of the members of the commission there, Father Lokodo, to represent us at that meeting. To date, I regret that decision. I had no idea how frail he was. Father Lokodo came in at the last moment. I had known that he was a little unwell, but I didn't know the extent of his ill health. Eventually, he collapsed and died in Geneva. He stepped in because this commissioner who I had asked to travel to Geneva had declined. I also sent her, declined to attend it, and didn't even have the courtesy to tell me so. I discovered later that she had not arrived at that event. Mr. Chairman, I should add that these commissioners have tormented me at office ever since I met them. The worst is when they conjured up false accusations against me, wrote false and malicious stuff against me, which they distributed to various agencies like State House Anti-Corruption Unit, Police, Inspectorate of Government, and various government offices. They have based on this false dossier to unleash untold psychological terror on me using social media, mainstream media, bloggers, etc. They have defended...
Madam Chairperson, I'll still restrain you to stick to policy issues and not personal.
Saying that the recent statement of the Attorney General on the floor of Parliament shocked these members, hence resorting to the committees of Parliament to further their smear campaign against me. But I should end maybe on a positive note that despite their vicious hatred for me, I have tried to reach out to them. I asked one of us, Commissioner Lamex Omara Apita, to initiate dialogue between us. He had started these efforts. He even identified an external professional mediator, the immediate former Solicitor General, Mr. Atoke, to help mediate between us with the view to bringing us together. So far, I see no sign that they are ready for a mediation. Their only mantra is she should go.
Thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for that very emotional...
To policy issues. And like Chair said, the Chairperson said, tribunal hearings are not a core mandate. So let me first ask something to do with the core mandate. Article 52, 1A, B, and C. But if I'm to restrict myself to A, well, among the functions is to investigate, that is the commission, at its own initiative, or in a complaint made by any person or group of persons against the violation of rights, to visit jails, prisons, and places of detention or related facilities. Those are some of the core mandates, and as a senior lawyer, she knows that the order of precedence shows how important those mandates are. So the question would be, how far, especially at a time, and I'm not restricting myself to these 3 months, 6 months of pettiness, but the last 6 years, where we've seen gross violations of human rights, which investigations has the commission on its own initiative or on complaints instituted, which places of detention, both gazetted and ungazetted, can we have that on record? Secondly, Chair, in my 3 minutes, she mentions about tribunals, and that is page 4 of her statements, which have been convened and not taken off because of the absence of the other, or frustration by other people. That is a policy issue, which I would wish that she lays some evidence to that, given that this committee is going to meet those people, to see who has been failing the hearings of tribunals. Lastly, Chair, still page 5 of her treatise, the human rights chairperson talks about not using the system, the commission, as a sanitization of criminals. And she mentions that some of the people who lodge complaints may be robbers or rapists or hardcore criminals. To the extent that the commission chairperson is labeling a person who has brought a human rights violation as a rapist, because she doesn't have, the commission is not vested with powers of conviction or declaring people rapists. Its mandate is about human rights violations. Our laws, first the Constitution, the Prohibition and Prevention of Torture Act, do not in any way say that a hardcore criminal can be tortured or his rights can be violated. That is still the law, as we know it, as she studied it, and as I studied it. So if she says that this may be pertains to how she views suspects, and she mentions that some of the cases that have been closed as a result of being brought out of time or because of wrong cause of action, a matter, a complaint being made before the Human Rights Tribunal is different from a matter being filed in court. In courts of judicature, you instruct a lawyer, like Nalukola here, to file a case for you, and they do the pleadings. I've lodged the complaints, Human Rights Commission. You go and the staff of the commission takes down your issues. At that point, a human rights officer can say this complaint is not for this jurisdiction, or it doesn't have a cause of action. So it's not right to say that after a person waiting for 10, 15 years, and you sit on your table and you close a file saying we've eventually realized we don't have a cause of action. So my specific question, lastly, is this the appreciation of the mandate, or it's a personal feeling that for people, before we eventually do a human rights violation, we have to first know your guilt or innocence in another matter which is not before the commission? I thank you.
Thank you very much.
Once again, we welcome the guests from Uganda Human Rights Commission. Salongo Richard Senteza is my name. Madam Chairperson, we thank you very much for your elaborate speech, emotional as the chairman put it. And that brings me to my question. Madam Chair,
closed and dismissed, and I can see it is your director complaints who always signs off the dismissals. But when you read some of the reasons that you give, it is found that you resisted arrest, so the force that was used on you was proportionate, therefore we close. It is found that the officer who was conducting the arrest acted in self-defense, so we've closed. Madam Chair, in my view, these are not decisions that you would unilaterally reach without subjecting it to at least quite a number of opinions, so that you are seen to do justice to the people that have come before you. You know, by the time complainants come to bring their complaints before you. It's because they are aware about, or they are aware of the long and tedious process that going to court and litigation would entail. That's why they come to the commission. So you should also ideally discharge your duty honestly and without partiality. How is it? I want to understand how you can unilaterally, without the involvement of other commissioners, dismiss and close files. And how do you think those Ugandans whose files you have just thrown out would feel after they have presented all these things to you and other commissioners are telling us they were not part of the decision? So did you sit alone with your director complaints and say, this one throw out, this one throw out, this one take in? Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Honorable Anne.
It's not escalated to the level of witchcraft. You see, in most cases, this kind of bickering, in most cases, culminate into witchcraft. I believe, Mr. Chairman, you have heard. The chairperson of the commission have had the occasion of hearing from you. I have just a few questions. But I'm so concerned about how you view human rights in the due process when a suspect is arrested. You don't believe that a suspect is not entitled to a right to be arraigned before court within 48 hours as per the constitutional commandment? Can we do away with that constitutional commandment while considering the gravity of allegations? Isn't that dangerous to be coming from the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission? Is it your view that somebody, as long as there are serious allegations against that somebody can be subjected to torture, which is contrary to the law, which is contrary to the provisions of Article 24 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda? You, as the chairperson of Uganda Human Rights Commission, isn't it your duty to protect the right to be free from inhuman and degrading treatment? And you are saying that since this person committed an offense, that person can be subjected to such treatment? When you say that, no, these are just frivolous, vexatious claims, because this person was subjected to torture and he was tried in court, he was convicted and sentenced. Therefore, it was right for him to be tortured before arraigning him before court. That's how I've understood you. Madam Chair,
you want to leave that point without asking your question.
As the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, you recently submitted a notice of intent to resign in July this year, 2026, citing a drop in the stature of the commission. The Attorney General came on the floor of Parliament and clarified that yours was a mere intention to resign, but you have not yet resigned. Do you still command the moral and functional authority to lead the commission while your resignation is still in the limbo there, in the balance? Can you ably and unequivocally invite Ugandans who are victims of violation of human rights to present their petitions before you in light of the status, the balance you are in? Where are we? Lastly, don't you regret that in light of human rights violations in Uganda now, instead of handling those violations, those issues, you are busy discussing who is entitled to a trip such things. I am so grateful, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think that is not only for her, but for the entire committee.
Briefly on that, really, as the person who is manning an institution to do with human rights in this country, and you know how petty our people are in this country, leave alone that they don't know the law, they run to you, you draft for them documents, and you opt to sit in your office, and you opt to dismiss cases without at least call them to sit there, and you explain to them, why do you opt to do it the other way around, which can put the repute of the commission into question. Wouldn't it be right for you to do it the other way, and you call them, you summon them, that now since you are here, we have failed to proceed with your case because of this reason, that you see, for you to simply sit with Mutumba to direct her to start issuing these letters. Even me, I lodged a complaint before you when we were attacked at court.
Honorable Abdallah, Director Mutumba.
Director Mutumba. Director Mutumba. Even me, I lodged a complaint with my fellow lawyers before the commission when we were being killed in the chambers at Machindi. The next, after some 2-3 years, we received a letter that your case has been dismissed without summoning us to expound on what happened to us. I can bear witness.
So can we say that you are biased in this discussion?
No.
You are conflicted.
I'm not actually. I'm in that specific area.
You are conflicted.
I am adding weight on the allegations which have been put on her.
Okay. Okay.
That even my case was also dismissed.
So you're an interested party.
Without being heard.
So you should have declared that interest from the beginning.
Yeah, should have.